Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled, A Karen Insisting I'm Her Lyft Driver. For context, I've been a Lyft driver for 4 years but haven't since COVID started. I don't have my amp in the window but I still have the sticker on the car. I have an online order for pickup at Walmart for supplies for the incoming hurricane. So I'm driving into the parking lot and I'm searching for the pickup parking spots. I drive by the exit door, looking for these spots, when I see a woman eyeing my car as she walks out of the store. At the same time, a car attempts to pull out and nearly hits me, but doesn't. As I start to move forward to continue my search, the woman stands next to my car, yelling, and pointing at my car, then her saying, "You're looking for me." I vigorously shake my head no, pull away, and continue my search. After I found a cart guy in the parking lot, he told me they were back the way I came. Crap. So, I drive back the way I came and I can see the same woman standing by the exit, glaring at my car. I avoid eye contact and finally find the pickup parking. I pull up and wait, eating a bit of my dinner while I do so. As I'm eating my mac and cheese, I hear someone angrily yell, "Are you not a Lyft driver?" from my passenger side. The same woman had walked 5 rows from the exit to track me down. She begins yelling and gesturing at my sticker and asking, "Why aren't you picking me up?" I felt at this point, ignoring her would be less than ideal, so I rolled down my passenger window just enough. I looked her in the eye and said calmly, "Ma'am, I'm not working right now." She throws her hands in the air, looks around wildly, and says, "Give me a ride." I told her I am not her Lyft driver and suggested she contact her driver through the app. She yells, "Well, ducking great. WHERES my Lyft driver then." I just quickly rolled the window back up as she stormed away. I feel like this shouldn't have to be said, but please double check your app with the Lyft, Uber you're getting into. And don't stalk down strangers in their cars. The next story is titled, I Don't Work Here, I Own Here. After years of being an employee, I finally opened my own little business in Key West. It was a kiosk right on Duval Street and I sat outside in a director's chair and enjoyed the laid-back vibe and the parade of tourists. Most tourists were nice, many coming off cruise ships. I sold a variety of ceramic and paper mache, birds and fish and other trinkets. It's amazing the crap people will buy just because they are on vacation. Anyway, there's me, LK-led Karen, and POC pack of Karens involved. The POC and LK approached my kiosk and started looking at my display. LK innocently asked how much a certain cockatoo on a wire cost. I got up and replied, "They're all marked with the price. This one is $22. She sneered and said, "This isn't worth half of that." It was obvious she wasn't interested, she just wanted an excuse to badmouth my product and show off to her pack. In a dead voice I said, "If you don't like it, there's the sidewalk." LK, how rude. I want to speak to the manager. Full Karen outrage. Me, calmly. I am the manager. LK, then I want to speak to the owner. This is when my years of having to put up with rude customers BS for fear of consequences kicked in. I'd worked in retail, restaurants, and as a flight attendant and had years of pent-up abuse heaped upon me. I snapped. Me yelling, "I am the owner." And the sales guy, manager, and owner all agree, "You need to get your fat ass on the sidewalk and out of my face before the 3 of us do something we'll all regret." The LK and horrified POC hastily made their exit. The guy who ran the store next door and had watched the exchange looked at me in shock as I'm usually so easygoing and polite. As what had just happened began to sink in, I began to howl with laughter until I couldn't breathe. The looks on their faces as they ran off was priceless. It was so freeing to be able to tell them off without worrying about answering to anyone. The store was fun, but was a lot of work and I shut it down and re-entered the workforce as an employee. Good times. The next story is titled, USMC Won't Back Off. I was a bulk fuel specialist in the Marine Corps for about 2 years, medical discharge. This basically means that I pumped gas for the cooler Marines. It was a crap job, the SSGTs in charge were crap and if it were up to me, the whole job field would be sent over to the army like it already mostly is. But I digress. I've been comfortably out for almost 7 months. Suddenly I get a phone call at 8 a.m. Odd because it's my day off. I work for a shipping company now that won't be named. I answer half awake to so-named corporal. Asshat. Me, hello? Asshat, hey, where the duck are you? Me, sorry, who is this? Let it be known that I didn't personally know this corporal, and I'm sure he didn't know me as I didn't have his number. Asshat, it's corporal. Asshat, why the duck aren't you at morning formation? Me, I don't know who you thought you called, but I've been out for a while, bud. Asshat, don't ducking pull this crap, schmuckerelli, changed obviously. I know this is your number on the recall roster. Get your ass the duck to the shop or I'll write you up. Me, dog, it'll take me at least 6 hours to get to Camp Pendleton, where the unit is stationed. Are you sure you're calling who you think you are? Asshat hangs up. Oh, you thought it was over? Me too. We were both wrong. I get a call later that afternoon from Sergeant Schlock, changed again, someone I actually knew. Me, hello? Schlock, where the duck are you, schmuckerelli? Me, Schlock. Schlock, oh crap, Major Riley? Is that you? Me, yeah? Schlock, this your number? Me, last time I checked. Schlock, hold on. Schlock puts the phone down and proceeds to rip corporal. Asshat, a new one. Schlock, hey, you still there? Me, yeah? Schlock, you're good, we won't call you anymore. Me, cool. Slightly bewildered. I find out through the grapevine that LCPL Schmuckerelli put down my phone number on the recall roster in place of his own, a common trick with junior Marines as it prevents them from being called and bothered with things they don't want to be bothered with, but normally you'd use a phone number not on a previous roster. Schmuckerelli got written up. Corporal got chewed out. I got to enjoy myself along the way. The next story is titled, I Don't Work Here. I am a child. Being stuck in quarantine, I remembered this story. Some information. I am tall. I reached my adult height very early on. It's not an issue anymore, but in comparison to my peers at the time I was freakishly huge. The only part one have ever played in a school play was a refrigerator because I was the only one tall enough to wear the box costume and my parents once caught my dance partner at cotillion making fun of me to his friends for being a giant Amazon. Lol, you get the idea, normal childhood. Anyway, when I was 11 I played softball. One day after an early SAT game my father had to stop at a well-known large hardware store with a blue sign that rhymes with slows. He just had to run in to grab something but left me to wander around the garden section. I was minding my own business looking at the flowers, decorative stone frogs and such when a man came out of nowhere. Man, hey. I need some help. I've been trying to find someone for 20 minutes. Me, staring at him in confusion. Man, I need to know if these will survive in the shaded part of my yard and I need to show me where paving stones are. He said that as he shoved some plants he picked up at me. Me, well if you look at the tags on the plants it should tell you what amount of sun they need, but I don't know where paving stones are. You should ask the lady at the front, she probably knows. That was the wrong answer. Man, and why exactly can't you go find out? I asked you to go find out. Me, because I'm 11. I can't work here. Man, well why are you dressed like that then? Me, this is my softball uniform. I still had on full gear. Grey scratchy pants, knee socks, cleats, classic baseball tee with team name and hat. The only similarity was that my team color was blue. That's it. At this store though employees wear bright red vests and tops. Something finally clicked, and he actually looked at me for the first time and I saw his face drop. He realized that he, a grown-ass man, was indeed yelling at young girl in the middle of a store. Me, well. I'm going to get my dad now. At that the guy just dropped everything and swiftly walked away. I told my dad and we laughed about it on the way home. Also, I'm going to say I don't think this man was a predator or anything. Just an ass that was in his own world and too embarrassed by the situation to stick around. The next story is titled, Accused of Scamming for Lettuce. My husband and I were at the grocery store and headed to the self-checkout with one more package of meat than is currently allowed, so we split up in line to check out separately. He steps up to a register and I'm waiting for the next one to open up, standing right on top of a dot marked for social distancing measures, when an elderly woman at the register closest to me finishes her transaction and grabs her receipt. She takes half a step away before stopping to look more at her receipt. After a moment, she looks up at me and says, "Come here." So me, thinking she can't read her receipt and just needs some help from my young eyes, steps up to look at her receipt. She starts showing me that her lettuce didn't ring up correctly, and instead of just giving her the discounted price, it charged her the regular price on top of the discounted price. And then proceeds to tell me again and again, while the next 4 people in line go around us to the registers that are quickly opening up. She finally stops speaking and looks at me, to which I reply, "I think you're right." She looks at me and asks incredulously, "You think?" "Well, you'd have to ask one of the employees, I don't work here." I trail off and feel her taking in my grey tank top and workout pants with my items to purchase in my hand. "Then why were you standing there?" She's still indignant. "This has to be my fault surely." Still politely, too many years of customer service to default on, I point to the "please stand here to stay 6 feet apart" sticker I had been standing on and told her I was just following the rules. "Oh," was the only response I received before she waddled off towards the checkout attendant for the area. I finally checked out and met my husband by the door, but before we can walk out, my new friend from the checkout stops me again and tells me to always check my receipt because the grocery stores are out to scam you out of your $2. The next story is titled "Lady of Dirt." This happened a few months back, but I'd just gotten a new fish tank and I wanted to do a planted tank. My dad needed to buy some new paint and a doorknob for the house, so he took me with to a certain orange store that sells these things. As we browsed, he asked what I was looking for specifically and why we couldn't just use any old soil. I explained why organic potting soil was important and pointed out different soils that would work and were big enough that they'd fit the tank, and why the other soils would be dangerous for the fish and plants. Soon after, a couple asked me if I worked there, because they were looking for gardening soil. I quickly said no. They apologized and asked what I was doing with my soil, and I explained I was using it for a fish tank. Not as dramatic, but I'm glad they weren't rude about it. The next story is titled "Man Yells at 14-Year-Old Security Guard." Disclaimer: my dad is a very dark Asian, and I'm much whiter than him. You'll understand later into the story. DS is also dark-skinned. Cast: DS equals dumb shopper, DS GF equals dumb shopper's girlfriend, dad, me. So, I went to my local, mostly white, supermarket with my dad after I had just gotten out of work. I work at a different supermarket, rhymes with market mascot. Anyways, my dad and I were walking around and shopping. We ran into this couple, DS and DS GF. They were in front of the bacon. I politely said, "Excuse me." I also asked them to move because they were standing in front of the deli counter. We realized that there was pre-cut deli meat, so we walked over to grab it. DS stares at me while I'm talking to my dad and grabbing the ham. We walk by DS and DS GF, and both of them are staring at us. Mistake 1: I made eye contact with DS at the bacon section. Mistake 2: I again made eye contact with DS GF at the deli. My dad and I get into the soda aisle. We are talking about what soda we want to get, when DS walks into our aisle with his mask off and gets in our face saying, "We got a problem here." Me: "Do we know you?" Dad: "No." DS: "I seen you two walking around the store following me and my girlfriend. A black man can't walk around the store in peace without being racially profiled?" Dad: "I'm darker than you, man, we don't got nothing against you." DS: "I know you both are security guards here. I've seen you two here before." Points at me: "I watched you talk into your mic." Me: "I work at Barket Mascot, bro. I'm still in my uniform, dude. I'm also only 14. DS: "I don't care how old you are, I'll crack the FK out of both of you." Dad: "Hey man, we don't want no problems. Leave us alone." DS starts walking away. "Black people can't shop in peace no more." Dad: "You're just paranoid, buddy. Open your eyes and you'd see actual security has been following us around the entire store." Security was following me and Dad and always being at every corner we turned, staring us down. We decided to grab Mountain Dew and hike out of the store. The next story is titled "I Don't Work There." About 15 years ago I started work at a government laboratory. The kind you need special permission to do any real work. Anyway, I was a new hire, so my documentation wasn't going to be done for a long while, so I had a lot of busy work to do at my desk. Now, when I started, I was given a phone number that was 1 digit off from the customer service number of a local bank. You can see where this is going. It soon became apparent that around lunchtime every day I was going to get 3 to 4 calls for the bank that were dialed incorrectly. Some Fridays I would get 10 to 15. So many that I even changed my answering machine message to reflect the correct number for the bank and "Sorry, the bank missed your call." My coworkers got a kick out of that. When I did answer, always professionally, I would say, "Government Laboratory, M speaking, can I help you?" A lot of folks would realize after a moment's silence that they had dialed the wrong number, apologized, and would hang up. This happened a lot, but the caller was always good-natured about it and would apologize profusely for the mistake, possibly thinking they would be tracked or something. I used that fear of tracing by the government a couple of times to get rid of pests. This was one of them. One day the phone rings and I answer with my normal greeting. The conversation that followed went something like this. Me: "Hello, Government Laboratory, this is M, can I help you?" Caller: "Yeah, this is Joe, didn't listen. I want to transfer blah blah dollars to account XXXXXXXXXXXX from account XXXXXXXXXXX. And hurry up about it, I'm on break and have to be back in a few minutes." Me: "I'm sorry, I'm not local bank, their number is XXX4X, you've dialed the wrong number." Caller: "Well, transfer me to the bank, I don't have much time." Me: "Sorry, I would if I could, but this is a restricted line and I am not able to connect you to the bank from here." Caller: "What do you mean you can't transfer me? This is one of the numbers for the bank and you should be able to connect me to customer service." Me: "Sorry, this is Government Laboratory, not the bank." Caller: "When I get a hold of the bank manager, I'm going to give him your name so he can deal with you. What do you do there anyway? Waste company time." Now, I'm a little upset by now as this guy is really thick and I have to dissuade him from ever calling me again. So thinking fast, I answer. Me: "Well sir, my job is to track incoming calls to their origination and if necessary start an investigation on the caller." Click. I was upset I didn't write down the account numbers. Anyway, a few years of this and I finally was able to get a new phone number and my old one was retired, permanently. The next story is titled, "No Touchy Karen." I finally decided to suck it up and go to the wonderful world of Walmart to get my essentials, toilet paper, bread, ramen noodles, etc. I throw on my work pants, stained as all can be khaki cargo pants, work boots with bright pink laces, and a pink tank top because it's 1,000,000 degrees right now in the South. I'm staring at the bread, humming to myself, deciding if I really need to get bread or if I can just get bagels this week. As I'm reaching for the bagels, I'm suddenly pulled by the back of my shirt. Like pulled so hard I have to take a step back or I would have fell. This startled me as I didn't see anyone around me at first, so I scream like a bloody banshee and swing blindly as I turn around, luckily missing her. Now I'm faced with a Karen as stereotypical as they are. Middle-aged, gold watch, gold necklace, gold diamond earrings, pantsuit, big sunglasses on top of bleach hair, ridiculously long manicured nails, and a horrible fake tan. She suddenly turns from a look of shock to anger and starts screaming at me. I'm just standing there dumbfounded and crying while clutching the bagels like they're a support blanket. The manager suddenly runs over and asks, "What's going on?" The Karen starts throwing this huge tantrum about how I'm unprofessional and wearing dirty slutty clothes while working and I should be fired for almost hitting her. The manager just shakes his head and asks me for my side of the story, but before I could get it out of my mouth, the Karen starts screaming about how her word is the only word that should matter because the customer is always right. The manager turns to her and tells her to be quiet or leave. Finally she huffs and just stands there with her hands on her hips like a disappointed mum at her daughter's dance audition. The manager listens to my side of the story while I finally manage to get the stupid tears to stop, accompanied every so often by a Karen huff and an eye roll. The manager then turns to the Karen and explains to her that I'm not an employee. He then asks her why she even thought I was one. The Karen huffs and says she was standing there for 20 minutes staring at the bread. I thought she was an employee cause she's wearing khakis and was just trying to figure out how to stock the shelves. The manager just shakes his head again and asks her what she even needed. "Oh, dog treats for my beautiful prize poodle." The manager points across the big middle aisle and says they are all over there in aisle 3. The more organic ones are in the fridge in the middle of the aisle on the left. The Karen seems satisfied and walks on over. The manager asks if there's anything he can do. I say no thank you, I just want to get home to eat my supper and away from this drama. As I turn to walk down the aisle, the manager suddenly goes, "Oh my God, wait." I stop and turn around. He asks me if he can take a picture of my back to show me what's wrong. I give him permission and he takes his phone out snapping the picture. Yay, that's right. The Karen had pulled my shirt so hard that there was a small tear in my shirt by my shoulder blade and fresh blood from a new cut from her ridiculously long nails. I figured that due to the adrenaline of what was happening I didn't feel the pain from the cut. The manager asks if I want to go get something from first aid or anything. I again tell him no thank you, I just want to get home and go to checkout. Lucky enough for me, my sister-in-law who has been a cashier there for 4 years now happened to be working that day. I go and tell her what happened while she scanned my items. Later that night, I get a text from her saying that a lady matching the description I told her was banned from the store for assaulting a customer. She spit at a guy and trying to steal dog treats that were fairly expensive, about $60 worth of dog treats stuffed in her bag. So I guess karma took over and served her well. Also, just a small note, the cut on my back isn't even that bad, it stopped bleeding pretty quickly and it kinda looks like a cat scratched me, so it's not that deep. I just wanted to get away from the drama and don't have a good history of police treating me nicely in this town, so I didn't want to press charges or have to deal with anything. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comment.